fault. You're stupid. No, Mama. Help me.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to talk about one of the most interesting animated fantasy adventure film of 2026, Swift. This movie is not just for a simple animated story, it is a deep and emotional journey that mixes fantasy adventure and a strong moral message about unity, fear, and understanding each other. In this video, I will have explain multiple details, stories, everything about this movie. I will explain the full movie step by step in a simple English way so that you can easily understand the complete story. Even if you have not watched the film yet, in this video we will start with the full story breakdown of Swift. I will explain how the movie begins, how the main character Oli lives in a magical world, and how one small decision change everything in his life. We will go step by step thought every important scene, including how different creatures in the valley are introduced, how conflicts start, and how the story slowly builds into a bigger emotional journey. I will also explain the transformation moment, the magical element, and the turning point that make the story more powerful and meaningful. After the story explanation, we will also talk about the moral of the story. Every movie has a message, and Swift is no different. This film teaches us about understanding others, the danger of fear, the importance of unity, and how mistake can lead to big chance in life. I will explain all these lessons in a very simple way so that everyone can understand that the movie is trying to stay behind just entertainment. Then we will move toward a detailed movie review section. In this part, we will talk about different aspects of movie like production quality, animated style, voice acting, performance, background music. We will also discuss how the movie was made and what makes its visual special, and how the animation studio brought this magical world to life. We will also look at how the character were designed and how the voice character was emotion and life to each role. After that, we will discuss casting and performance. The movie features strong voice performance from well-known actors, and we will talk about how their voice helped shape the character and made the emotional scene more powerful. We will also explore how each character contributes the overall story and why some performances stand out more than others. We will also talk about the reception of the film and meaning how audience and critics reacted after the release. Some people loved the movie for its visual and emotional message, while others had different options about its storytelling. Well, we will break down both positive and negative feedback so you can get a balanced view of how the movie performed. Finally, we will do also discuss the marketing success of the film. How was the movie promoted? Did it gain popularity on Netflix and in theaters? It was successful in reach reaching audience worldwide. All of this will be covered in detail so you can understand the full journey of the Swift from production to release. If if you are interested in animated movies, fantastic worlds, and deep moral stories, then make sure to watch this full video. I will give you a complete understanding of Swift from every single including story, meaning, production, and success. Let's begin this journey together and dive into the world of Swift. Swift get a remarkable positive response with audience. The story begins in the multiple outstanding locations where Oli, Poco, and multiple characters react each others and lived each others. On the other hand, the story began in a magical and mysterious valley that feel alive with colors and strange beauty. This is not an ordinary world because the creatures living there are a mix of animals and plants. Some have leaves growing from their bodies while other looks like animal but move like trees. The valley is filled with rivers, tall glowing plants and soft light that make everything look peaceful. However, beneath this peaceful surface, there is a quiet feeling of separation as if something important was lost long ago. One small island in the middle of the valley lives a group of small cuts sea otters like creatures called the Poco. They live together like a close family, always staying near each other, and never going too far from their home. Among them is a young Poco named Oli, who is very different from the rest. While are happy staying safe, Oli is full of curiosity. He always looks at the horizon, wondering that lies beyond Iceland, and he often asks questions that no one seems comfortable answering. No one seems comfortable answering. Ollie's parents love him deeply, but they are always very protective. They consistently warn him not to leave the island and not to be interact with other creatures in the valley. To them, the outside world is dangerous and unpredictable. They believe that staying isolated is the only way to survive. But does not understand this fear. He sees the beauty of the valley and feels that there must be more to life than hiding. One evening, while sitting quiet with with his grandmother, Oli asked her why all the creatures stay apart. This grandmother, who is older and wiser, decided to tell him a story from the past, a story that explains everything. She tells that she tells him that long ago the valley was not divided like it is now. All the creatures lived together in a unity community. They could understand each other community freely and help one another. This peaceful life was made possible by magical beginnings now as the zoo. The zoo were large trees like creatures who had a special connection with the valley. They create magical poods that allowed animals to transfer into different forms and understand each other language. Because of these poods, there was unfair, no misunderstanding, and no separation. Every creature felt connected. But this peaceful time did not last. One day, a powerful and dangerous creature, unknown as a tree wolf, become jealous and angry. He felt rejected by others and wanted power, so he stolen one of the magical poods from the zoo. However, this was an ordinary transformation. Instead of gaining understanding, he gained the power of fire. This turned him into something dangerous, the fire wolf. With this new power, he brought disturb- disturbation, disturbation to the valley. He caused a massive fire that spread across the land, destroying homes and forcing the creatures to run from their lives. In the in this case, a hug dam was formed, blocking the river and separating different parts of the valley. The zoo disappeared, and the magical connection between creatures was lost. From that day on, everything species began to live separately, afraid of one another. The story stay in Oli's mind. Instead of making him afraid, it make him even more serious. He begins to believe that maybe things can be different again. The next day he decides to explore a little further than usual. As he moves near the edge of the island, he noticed something unusual, a small bird-like creature struggling to find food. This creature is a javelin, a species that live far from the island. The javelin looks weak and hungry, and Oli feels bad for him. Even thought he remembers his parents' warning. He chooses kindness. He approached the javelin carefully and help her find food on the island. At first, everything seemed fine. The Javan eats and regains her strength, but soon something unexpected happened. The Javan calls out loudly, and her voice enhances across the valley. With a short time, many more Javans arrive on the island. What start as a small act of kindness quickly turns into a big problem. The growing numbers of Germans began to consume more and more of the Iceland food. The peaceful life of the Poco is disturbed, and fear began to separate among them. They worry that there will no enough food for everyone if the Germans continue to stay. Oli soon realized that this Oli soon realized that his action have caused this situation. He feels guilt and responsible for the trouble his family and community are facing. Determined to fix this mistake, he comes up with a plan to scare the Germans away. He collects shiny piece of glass, hoping that the reflection and highlight will will reflect them. At first, it seemed like it might work, but things quickly go wrong. The Germans become aggressive, and one of them attacked Oli. In this case, Oli loses his balance and falls into a deep, hidden hole in the ground. As the falls, everything goes dark, and he lands hard at the bottom. There he discovers something glowing, a magical pool, just like the ones this grandmother talk about without fully understanding that it will do. Ollie touches the food. In an instant, his body began to change. He transferred into a Javan. The everything the every creature has a creature he was trying to send away. Shocked and confused, Ollie struggles to understand what was happened to him. When he finally managed to climb out of the hole and return to the island, things become even more dangerous. Ollie confused and Oli confused. His own family and fellow Poco do not recognize him anymore. To them, he looks like one of the invading Javans. They react with fear and anger, cashing him away from the island. Oli tries to explain, but no one understands him. In that heartbreaking moment, he realized that it truly means to be seen as difficult. The same fear that once kept him inside the island is now turned against him. Alone and Alone and scared, Oli runs as fast as he can, trying to escape. But in this in this panic, he slip and fall into the river that flow through the valley. The strong current pulls him away from everything he has. Even now, as he drifts through the water, tried and helpless, his journey into the unknown truly begins. As Oli is carried away by the strong river current, he struggles to stay above the water. The flow is fast and powerful, pulling him further and farther from the island that was once his home. He tries to swim, but his new Javan body feels unfamiliar and he cannot control it properly. Just when it seems like he might brown and shadow move quickly thought the water, Javan's dive down and pulls him to safety. When Oli opens his eyes, he realizes that the one who saved him is the same Javan who attacked him early. Her name is Ivy. Her name is Ivy. Along, along with her along with her are her two sisters Violet and Leah, who watched carefully from nearby rocks. Olive feels confused and angry. He does not trust him, especially after everything that has happened. But Ivy does not seem like an enemy anymore. She looks at him with curiosity rather than aggression, as if she is also trying to understand that is going on. At first, Oli refused to talk or cooperate. He believes that all of this trouble started because of the Germans and be, Germans. He blames Ivy and her flags for taking over his island. Ivy, however, began to speak, claiming explain that things are not as simple as he thinks. She tells him that her flags did not come to the island to cause harm. They come because their own home, a place called Java Rock, has very little food left. The environment there has changed, and survival has become difficult. There were desperate, and when the young Javan that only helped returned with news of a place full of food, they followed her without thinking about the consequence. Hearing this, Oli began to feel conflicted. He still feel hurt and angry, but he also understands that it means to be afraid of losing everything. As they talk, a the strange voice interrupts them. From the water below, a large fish-like creature appears. This creature has a unique and slightly funny personality, and this name is Bogle. He looks like a grouper fish, but he speaks in a confident and mysterious way. Bogle seems to know a lot about the valley and its secret. He noticed that Oli is not a real Javan and quickly guesses that he must have used a magical pod. Oli become alert, realizing that this fish might know something important. Bogle tells him about another pod that exists near the remain of the dead zoo, hidden somewhere deeper in the valley. According to him, that pod might help Ollie return to his original form. This information gives Ollie hope. He immediately decides that he needs to find that pool and fix everything. Ivy, however, is not sure if she would trust him. She has seems how he tried to scare her kindly away, and she is still unsure of his intention. Deposit this, she feels she also feels responsible for what happened to the Iceland. So after a moment of hesitation, he decided to go with him. Together they began their journey through the valley, by Google guided by Bogle direction. As they traveled, the environment became more dangerous and unpredictable. The peaceful beauty of the valley slowly changed into a wild and untamed, untamed landscape. They, they encountered strange and powerful creatures all along the way. One of their first encounters is with a group of tree wolves. These creatures move like shadows among the tree, fast and silent. Ollie and Ivy must hidden carefully to avoid being noticed. This moment teaches Ollie an important lesson about survival. He realized that every creature in the valley has its own strength and danger, and understanding them is the key to staying alive. Further along their journey, they come across root snake along vena-like creatures that move beneath the ground and suddenly strike from below. This forces Ollie and Ivy to work together. At first, their teamwork is because they do not fully trust each other, but slowly they begin to understand each other movement and reaction. Ivy used her speed and awareness as a javelin, while Oli used his quick thinking. Together they managed to escape the root snake, strengthening their bond just a little more. As they continue, they reach an area filled with massive rock bear. These creatures are hug and powerful with bodies that look like they are made of stone. Crossing their extremely danger, Ollie feels scared, but Ivy encourages him to stay calm. She shows him how to move quickly and avoid driving attention. This is a turning point in their relationship. For the first time, Ollie begins to trust Ivy's judgment, and Ivy starts to see that Ollie is not selfish or careless. He simply wants to make things right. During a quiet moment in the journey, Ollie and Ivy finally open up to each other. Ollie shares how much he misses his family and how painful it was to be rejected by him. Ivy listened carefully and then shared their own story. He explained that she never wanted to lead her flocks to the Iceland, but she felt responsible for their survival. As was under pressure, and she made a decision that affected everyone. This moment creates a deeper emotional connection between them. They began to see each other not as enemies but as individuals trying to survive in a broken world. Actually, the isolation Actually, the reach the location where the dead zoo is said to be. The area feels quiet and almost scared, as if it holds memories from the past. In the center, they found the remains of a large tree like creatures, the zoo near it. There is needed a glowing pod. Ollie feels excited and hopeful. This could be this could be his chance to return to his original farm and fix everything. But just as he moves toward the pod, Ivy steps in front of him. She hesitates, unsure if she let him take it. There is still a small part of her that there is still a small part of her that does not fully trust him. This hesitation lead to tension between them. Their emotions rise, and other things too about their emotions rise, and they began to agree only access Ivy for not trusting him, whiling Ivy access only thinking about himself. In the middle of their judgment, they accidentally triggered accidentally triggered the pod. A sudden burst of energy surrounded them, and before they realize that is happening, both of them are transferred again. Both of them are transferred again, this time into fish. Now stuck in the water, they are forced to rally and beagle they are forced to rely on Bogle, who watched them with an amused expression. He tells them that transformation is not always simple, and that there are more pods hidden throughout the valley. Or he feels frustrated, but he also realizes that fighting with Ivy will not solve anything. Ivy too began to understand that they must work together if they want to fix their situation. In the strange new form, Ollie and Ivy finally set aside their difference. They agree to teach, they agree to trust each other and continue their journey together. From the first time, they are truly working as a team as they swim alongside Bogle, heading toward the next step of the pools. They have no idea what a much bigger trust is waiting for them. A true a truth that will change everything they thought they know about the valley, the pools, and the mysterious fair wall. After their unaccepted transformation into fish, Ollie and Ivy finds themselves drifting in the deeper parts of the valley waterways, a place that feels completely different from everything that different from everything they have seen before. The water is darker, quieter, and filled with strange glowing plants that move slowly with the current. At first, both of them panic because they are not used to this form. Ollie struggles to control this movement, swimming in un, swimming in uneven circle, while Ivy tries to stay calm but clearly feels uncomfortable as well. Bogle, however, moves easily through the water, clearly at home in this environment. He watched them with a slight smile, almost as if he accepted this is happen. Instead of helping immediately, he allows them to figure things out on their own, forcing them to adapt. Slowly, Ollie begins to understand how to move his fins and control his direction. Ivy begins naturally more adaptable, learns faster, and even guiding Ollie, showing him how to swim with the currents instead of against it. This small movement is important because it shows that their relationship has changed. Early they were danger and aggressive and blaming each other, but now they are working together without hesitation. This tension between them start to fade, replaced by a growing scene of trust growing scene of trust. They began to communicate better, not just thought words but thoughts action, understanding each other's intention more clearly than before. As they travel deeper into the water, they start noticing ruins of what once looked like an ancient a part of the valley, broken structure made of roots and stone skirted across the riverbed, covered in moss and glowing angles. Bokal explained that this area was once connected to the zoo long before the valley was divided. Hearing this, Oli feels a strange sense of sadness. He began to realize how much he has lost over time. The peaceful world his grandmother dis- described is not just a story, it was real, and now it is gone. During their journey they encountered their water creature, some peaceful and another dangerous some peaceful and others dangerous. At one point a large shadow moves beneath them, a massive underwater predator. The water around them become tense and silence. Bogle quickly signals them to stay still. To stay still. Ollie feels his heart racing as the creatures slowly pass by. This moment teaches them another important lesson. Sometimes survival is not about fighting or running, but about patience and awareness. Once the danger passes, they continue forward more carefully than before. After traveling for a long time, Bogle finally leads them to another hidden location where a cluster of magical pools can be found. These pools are attacked to what appear to be the remains of another zoo, particularly submerged and slowly decaying. The sight is both beautiful and sad. The pools glow softly, lighting and up the dark water around them. Ollie feels hopeful again. This could be their chance to return to their original forms and continue their journey properly. This time Ollie and Ivy approach the pools carefully, remembering that happened before. They agree not to ignore and not to trust each other decision. They together they active the pools and bring light surrounded them. In a moment their bodies begin to change again. The transformation feels smoother this time, almost as if the pools are responding to their cooperation. When the light faded, Oli is back Oli is back in this Poco. Oli is back in this Poco form, and Ivy returned to begin a Java. Both of them feels revealed and happy to finally be themselves again. However, their relief does not last long. As soon as they regain their forms, Bogle swims closer to the pools with a different expression on his face. Without warning, he takes one of the remaining pools for remaining pools from himself. At first, Ollie and Ivy are confused. They thought Bogle was helping them, guiding them, but now something feels wrong. Bogle began to change. His voice became deeper, more serious, and his calm personality disappeared. He reveals a shocking truth. He is just not an ordinary fish. He is the fire wolf. Oli and Ivy are stoned. Oli and Ivy are straight. Everything suddenly makes sense. The way Google now so much about the woods, the valley and the past, the fire wolf explained that long ago after causing destruction in the valley he was captured by the zoo and transferred into a fish to stop him. He was forced. He was forced to live in the water, powerless and forgotten. Over time, he learned to survive, to wait, and to plan. Now, after all these years, he has found a way to regain his power. The firewolf story is filled with pain and anger. He explained that he was rejected by his own kind, triggered, and as an outsider, the power of the food was the power of the food gave him strength, but it is also gave him a purpose to reshape the valley in his own way. He believes that the old harmony was a lie and that true strength comes from power, not unity. As she speaks, his emotions grow more intense and the water around them begin to feel heavy and tension. Before Oli and Ivy can react, the fire wolf destroy the remaining pools one by one. The glowing lights disappear, leaving the area dark and empty. This is a devastating moment. The pools were their only hope of restoring balance and helping others. Without them, the valley may remains broken forever. Ollie tries to stop him, but he is too late. The fire wolf is stronger and faster. Then, in a sudden and brutal move, the fire wolf attacked Ivy. The impact is powerful, and Ivy is thrown back, hitting the rocks and falling unconscious. Ollie is shocked by Trafford. For a moment, he feels completely helpless. But them but then something inside him changed. He realized that he cannot give up. He rushed to Ivy's side, calling her name, trying to walk up. She does not respond. The firewolf, now fully in control, leaves them behind, moving forward with this plan to destroy the valley once again. Ollie watched him go, filled with anger but also determination. He knows that he cannot defeat the firewolf alone, but he also knows that he cannot let him win. With great efforts, Ollie lifted Ivy and begins the difficult journey toward Javan Rock. Her home become her home her home become more serious become to the multiple efforts about everything and also be with great after Oli left Ivy and began to difficult journey toward John Rock her home. The path is long and dangerous, but he refused to stop. This moment show how much he has changed. At the beginning of the story, he was serious and unsure. Now he is brave, responsible, and willing to risk everything for someone else. As he traveled, the valley around him begins to show sign of disturbance. The balance is breaking again. Creatures are becoming restless, and the environment feels unstable. It is clear that the firewolf return is already affecting the world. Finally, after a long and exhausting journey, Ollie reached Javan Rock. He carefully places Ivy down and wait, hoping she will walk up. As he sits there, tired and worried, he looks out at the valley and realizes that everything is connected. The past, the present, the creatures, and the choice they make, all of it shape the world they live it. For the first time, Oli truly understands the meaning of the story. His grandmother told him the valley was not broken by power alone, it was broken by fear, anger, and separation. And now, if there is any hope of saving it, these things must be replaced with trust, courage, and unity. As Ivy slowly began to regain consequences, the next stage of their journey is about to begin, one that will decide the fate of the interior valley. After reaching Java Rock and placing Ivy safely among her her own kind, Ollie feels completely agitated both physically and emotionally for a moment. Everything is everything is quiet. The wind moves softly across the rocks cliff and the sound of the distant water enhances thought. The valley only sits beside Ivy, watching carefully as she slowly regain consciousness. When she finally opens her eyes, there is confusion at first, but then she remembers everything, the journey, the pools, and most importantly, the truth about Bogle begin. The firewolf, her expression changed from confusion to fear and then to determination. Every thought she is weak and understand that the danger is not over. In fact, he is only just begin. As Eve recovers, the other Javans gather around, serious and concerned. They look at Oli with suspicion at first, remembering that he is not one of them. But Ivy speak up, explaining everything that has happened. She tells she tells them how Oli helped her, how he risked his life to bring her back, and how the fire wolf has returned. Her words slowly changed the mood. The Javans began to see Oli differently, not as a outsider but as a someone they can trust. The moment is important because it shows the beginning of unity between species that once feared each other. Meanwhile, the valley itself is starting to change. Dark smooth began to rise in the distance. The sky, once bright and colorful, now looks dim and heavy. The firewolf is moving again, spreading where, where destruction wherever he goes. Trees burn, rivers begin to dry, and creatures runs in fear. The balance of the valley is broken once more, just like in the story Oli grandmother told him. This creates a strong sense of agreement. Only realize that if they nothing, everything will be lost. Ivy, Ivy now stronger decide that they cannot stay at Jama Rocks. It is no longer safe. She explain that the only place that might still offer protecting in the protecting is the Iceland where the Poco live. At first, the idea feels strange because Iceland once was a place of conflict between the Poco and the Javans, but now it may become the one place where everyone can come together. Only agree he knows that returning home will not be easy, especially after what happened when he was chased away. But he also knows that it is the right things to do. Soon a group is formed. It is not just Oli and Ivy anymore. Creatures they not meet during their journey who those who once seemed dangerous and distant began to join them. Some wolves, roots, snakes, and ever Similar creatures decide to follow. Each of them has been affected by the firewolf action, and each of them understands the survival now depends on cooperation. This group represents something new, a chance for unity in a divided world. Journey back to the Iceland is no longer is long and filled with tension. Along the way, they see the destruction caused by the firewolf, burned land, broken trees, and frightened animals. Remind them of what is at stake. At one point, they must cross a narrow path where fire has already spread. The heat is instant, and the smoke makes him more difficult decisions. Heat intense and the smoke makes it harder to see. Ollie takes the land, guiding everyone carefully. Ivy helps from above, watching from danger and directing the group. That this teamwork shows how much they can grow. They are no longer individuals thinking only about themselves. They are a teamwork toward a shared goal. When they finally reach the Iceland, the Poco are shocked. They see a large group of different creatures approaching together. Fear spreads quickly among them. Oli steps forward, knowing that this moment is critical. His father, Kola, comes forward to confront him. There is tension in the air. Kula remember how Oli was transformed and how he was seen as a threat before, but this time things are different. Oli speaks honestly. He tells his father everything, the truth about the firewolf, the destruction happening in the valley, and the need of all creatures to stand together. At first, Kula hesitates his entire life. He has believed that staying separate was the only way to survive. Trusting others feels dangerous, but as he looks around, he sees the fear is everyone eyes, not just the Poco, but the Javans and the other creatures as well. He realized that the world has changed. The old way of thinking is no longer enough. Slowly he nods, accepting Oli's words. This is a powerful moment. It marks the beginning of the true unity. The Iceland became a place of gathering. Different species and once separated by fear now stand side by side. They began to share resources, protect one another, and prepare for what is coming. But deep down, everyone knows that the fire wolf will not stop. He is coming, and when he does, there will be a final confrontation. As night falls, Oli cannot rest. He feels a heavy responsibility. He knows that simply heading on the island not will save them. If the firewolf is too powerful, there must be another way. As he thinks, he remembers the hole where he first found the pod, the place where everything changed. All thought from in his mind. Maybe there is still something there, something connected to the zoo. Without telling anyone, Ollie quickly leaves and make his way to that place. The path feels familiar but also different, as if it holds a deeper meaning now. When he reaches the hole, he climbs down slowly. The air is still and the silence feels almost scared. He notices that the cube, cubes inside the hole are connecting to something larger, a hidden connection to the remains of the zoo Narabi. Oli closes his eyes and speaks from his heart. He asks for help not for himself but for everyone. He speaks about unity, about the need to bring the valley back together from a moment nothing happened. Then a soft light began to glow, a new pod appear, almost as if it is a creed, almost as if it was created in a response to his sincerity. Without hesitation, Oli takes the food and activates it. A powerful transformation began this time. It feels different, stranger, deeper. His body changed, growing and taking on a new form, become a zoo. The very beginning that once thought harmony to the valley. In this form, he feels connected to everything around him, the trees, the water, the creatures. It is as if he can understand the interior valley at once. At the same moment, the fire wolf approaches the island and presence is overwhelming. Presence is overwhelming. Flames rise around him and the ground trembles with the power. The creatures on the island prepare themselves, but fear is still present. Then Ollie appears in the zoo from standing tall and calm. The final battle begins. The firewolf attack. The firewolf attack with the multiple dangerous power on the still. The firewolf attacks with fire and rage, trying to destroy everything in his path. But Oli stand firm. Instead of fighting with anger, he used balance and connection. A battle is intense, shaking the island and the surrounding valley as they clash. The dam that once divided the valley began to crack under the pressure. A powerful moment, the dam finally breaks, water rushes thought with unstoppable force, washing over everything, including Oli and Firewolf. The flames are extinguished, and the destruction comes to a sudden stop. As the water settles, silence returns. The creatures gather, looks around in uncertainty. All is now nowhere to be seen. Nowhere to be seen. After the great wave crashed through the valley and the fire finally disappeared, everything became quiet in a way that feels almost unreal. The sky slowly cleared and the heavy smoke began to fade away. The creatures on the island stand still, looking around in shock, trying to understand what has just happened. The ground is wet, the air is calm, and for the first time in a long while, there is no fear or no fear of fire spreading again. But every thought the danger seems to be gone. There is a deeper sadness in everyone hearts because Oli is missing. Ivy looks toward the water again, hoping to see him rise, but there is nothing. The Poco gathered together, and Kulla, Oli's father, lowered his head to silence. He remembered how he once tried to protect his son by keeping him close, but now Oli is gone because he chose to protect everyone else. The moment is heavy with emotions because the one who brought them together may have been lost forever. Time begins to pass slowly. The creatures do not celebrate, even thought the firewolf destruction has stopped. Instead, they begin to help each other. The Poco shared their island with the Java and the other creatures. They rebuild what they can, working side by side. This is something that had not happened for a very long time. Old fear began to fade, replaced by understanding. Ivy spends her days helping her flags settle peaceful on the island, but Her heat still feel incomplete. She often sits quietly remembering the journey she shared with Oli, the agreements, the challenge, and the moment when they learned that trust each other. She realized how much he changed her and how the courage gave her strength. One day everything unaccepted happened in the distant distance near the valley as soft glow appear as first the creatures thinks it might be another danger, but the light feels warm and peaceful, but the light warms and peaceful but the light warms and peaceful, not destructive. Slowly, large figures began to encourage from the mist. These are the zoo, the ancient tree-like beings who disappeared long ago. They return quickly, moving with claim and wisdom. Their presence brings a sense of balance back to the valley. The ground feels alive again, and the air carries a new kind of energy. The creatures watch it amazement as the zoo move across the land, touching the tree and water, restoring what was damaged. Then among the zoo, something even more surprising to reveal. A small figure step forward. It is Oli. He is alive. The zoo explained without words what thought their presence, that Oli did not disappear when he transferred into a zoo and fed the fire wolf. He became part of the valley balance when the dam broken and the water washed everything away. That balance restored him. He has returned to the original Poco form, but he is not the same as before. He carries the wisdom of everything he experienced. Ivy sees him and runs toward him without hesitation. The moment is emotional and powerful. There is no need for long words because everything is understood between them. Kula and the Poco also rush forward, filled with relief and pride. Kula looks at his son differently now, not as someone who needs protection, but as someone who has become a leader and a bridge between worlds. Oli smiled, but this experience is calm and thoughtful, showing how much he has grown. The return of the zoo marks the true healing of the valley. With their guidance and the creatures began to reconnect. The magical pools are no longer used as tool of power, but as symbol of understanding. Instead of transformation out of fear and control, the creatures learn to communicate and cooperate naturally. The river flows freely again, no longer blocked by the dam that once divided them. The land begins to grow back, greener and stronger than before. In the new world, the Poco and the Germans no longer live separately. They share the Iceland and the valley, working together to build a future that is different from the past. The tree walls, roots, snakes, rock bears, and all the other creatures also find their place in the balance. Each species speak its own identity, see each other but they no longer see each other as enemies. Instead, they understand that their differences are what make the valley stronger. Oli often stand at the edge of the island looking out at the valley, not with curiosity alone but with a sense of responsibility. He knows that place is not something that happened once and lets forever. It must be protected, cared for, and built every day. Ivy stand beside him, no longer just someone he meets, by chance but someone who shares his journey and his purpose. The story ends with a feeling of hope. The valley, once divided by fear and destruction, has been brought back together. Thought, courage, sacrifice, and understanding. Only journey make that even a small act like helping someone is needed and change everything. But it is also shows that mistake can lead to growth and that true strength comes not from power but from unity. As the camera slowly moves away from the island, we see all the creatures living together, the river flow freely and the zoo standing tall. Once again, the world is not perfect, but it is finally whole. After piecing returned to the valley and all the creatures began to live together, the life slowly settled with settled into a new style. But this time it feels different from before. But this time it feels different from before to movie acceptation. On the other hand, but this time it get a multiple chances production on the detail. After peace returned to the valley and all the creatures began to live together again, life slowly settled into a new style. But this time is feel different from before. It is not just peaceful, it is meaningful. Every creatures now understand what is look to rebuild this world and what shared experience creates a deeper connection between them. The Iceland, once only home to the Poco, become a central place where different species gather, talk, and the work together. Small change began to appear everywhere. Poco helps Poco help Javans build safe nesting nesting areas, while Javans use their ability to fly and suit the sky to warm their other about changing weather or distance danger. Even even creatures like tree wolves and root rock bears who were once feared now playing important role in the protecting the balance of the valley. The cooperate is this cooperation is not forced. It grow naturally, build on trust that was in earned thought struggle. Ollie finds himself in a new position. He is no longer just a serious young Poco. He has become a symbol of unity. Many creatures looks up to him, and not because he is the strongest, but because he understands them. He spent his days moving between different groups, silence to their concern and hoping them solve problems. Sometime conflict still happen. Old habits and fears do not disappear overnight, but instead of turning into fights, these conflicts are now handled with communication. Oli often reminds everyone of what they want, thought, and why staying united matter. His words are simple, but they can carry weight because everyone knows his journey. Ivy also grows into a strong and respected figure among the Javans and also beyond. She helps her flags adapt to their new life, encouraging them to share instead of taking without thinking. He often works alongside. He often works alongside with the multiple. He often works alongside with the multiple efforts, and also be he works alongside the Oli, and their bond become one of the strongest connection in the valley. They understand each other without needing to say much, and gathering they represent the bright bridge between species that once could not trust each other. Their friendship quiet inspire others to form their own connection across boundaries. The zoo remain present in the valley, but they do not control it like before. Instead, they act as guardians, stepping in only when necessary. They allow the creatures to make their own choice, believing that true harmony must come from within. Occasionally, now new pods appear, but they are no longer seen as tool of power or escape. Instead, they are respected as a reminder of the past, a symbol of what can happen when power is used without understanding, and what can be achieved when it is used with wisdom. This, as the time passes, the valley becomes stronger and more alive than ever. The river flows freely, freedom, the land and connecting distant area, plants growth taller and brighter. A new life began to appear. The younger generation of creatures grows up here, hearing stories not just about the firewolf destruction but about holy courage and the unity that followed. These stories are not told to create fear but to teach responsibility. One evening, Oli returned to the same spot where his journey first began, the edge of the island where he once without looked out with curiosity. This time, Ivy stand beside him. They both watch the valley now full of life and movement, or he reflect on everything that was happened, the mistake he made, the pain he left, and the choice to change everything. He realized that the world is still full of unknown, but now he is not afraid of them. Instead, he feels ready to face whatever come next. The wind moves gently through the valley, carries sound of different creatures living, working, and communicating together. It is no longer a place divided by fear, but a world connected by understanding. And Oli and Ivy stand side by side, looking toward the future. It becomes clear that their journey may have ended, but their story and the story of the valley just beginning is just beginning. The moral of the script is not just about a magical adventure or strange creatures. It, at its core, the story is about understanding fear, mistake, and how different groups can either destroy each other or save each other depending on the choice they make. The world of the film shows us that every creature, whether Poco, Javan or any other species, want to same basic things: safety, food, and survival. But the problem begins when fear becomes stronger than understanding. In the beginning, all the creatures live separately because they believe that others are dangerous. The separation does not happen because they are truly enemies, but because they have stopped trusting each other. The story teaches us that when communication breaks down, even peaceful begins can become begins can become divided. Early journey shows the first important moral lesson: curiosity is powerful, but it must come with responsibility. Oli is not a bad character. He is simple, serious about the world, his home. His curiosity leads him to explore and meet new creatures like the Java. At first, this seems like a good thing because the kindness connects him to other. But when the Javans river is a large number and start affecting the balance of Iceland. Only realized that even good intention can create problem if we do not think about the consequence. If we think do not about the consequence, the moral there is that every action has a ripple effect. Even helping one creates and can change the lives of many others. This teaches us that responsibility is a part of kindness. Another major moral of the story is the danger and fear and understanding. The Poco believes that their creatures will harm them, so they isolated themselves. The Javans believe that must survive at any cost, so they act without thinking about other. Neither group is completely wrong. The problem is not to create themselves, but the lack of trust between them. The story shows that when fear control decision, it leads the separation, conflict, and suffering. This reflects the real life where communities, cultures, and where families can become divided simple because they stop trying to understand each other. The character of the Oli adds another important real to the moral message. Ivy does not start as an enemy, but is also not full trusted. She represents the idea that people can come from different situations and still want to do the right things. Her group comes to the island because they are starting, not because they want to destroy it. This shows that survival often pushes begin to make hard choices. The moral lesson there is that we should not judge other too quickly. Behind every action there is usual a reason, even if we do not understand it at first. The transformation element in the story when Oli become a Java and later experience other forms represent empathy. When Oli is forced, when Oli is faced to live a other creature, he is finally understand what is feel like to be in their position. This is one of the strongest moral message in the interior film. It shows that the true understanding does not come from observation alone. It comes from experience. When we imagine ourselves in some else's situations, we begin to see the world differently. The story teaches the empathy is the key to solve conflict. The firewolf represents another deeper moral idea, pain that turns into destruction. The firewolf was not always evil. He was once rejected and hurt, and the pain slowly turned into anger. Instead of healing, he chose revenge and destruction. This shows how unresolved pain can grow into something dangerous if it is not understood or accepted. The moral lesson is that suffering should not be ignored. When begins feels rejected or alone, they need understanding, not punishment. Otherwise, the pain can spread and harm others. The magical pores in the story presents part of the transformation. They can be used for understanding or destruction depending on how they are used. This teaches that power itself is natural. It is the intention behind it that matter. The zoo create the pores to bring harmony, but when they were misused, they caused division and choice. They reflect a real life moral idea. Tools, technology, power not good by bad by themselves. It is the way we use them that decided their impact. Another important moral is unity thought difference. At the beginning of the story, every species believe they must stay separate to survive, but by the end, they learn that survival is stronger when they work together. Each creature has different abilities. Some can fly, some can big, some can dig, some can swim, but when they combine their strength, they become more powerful than before. This teaches that different are not weakness. Instead, they are strength when used together properly. Finally, the story shows the chance to always possible when after destruction, even after mistake, the world can rebuild if there is willingness to understand and forgive. All his journey proves that one individual can start a change, but a real transformation happen when everyone practice practic, practical pits. The valley become peaceful again, not because one hero win, but because all creatures decide to trust each other again. The second and the final moral of the story contains the message that change is not only about one hero or one moment, but about many small choices made by different individuals over time in the story. When the valley becomes peaceful again, it does not happen instantly or magically. It happens because each creatures decide to change the behavior. The Poco stop fearing others, the Java stop acting only for survival, and when the strange or more dangerous creatures begin to understand that living together is better than living in isolation. The moral lesson here is that real peace is not created by force but by cooperation. If only one group tries to bring peace while others refuse, balance cannot be achieved. But when everyone makes responsibility, even in a small way, big chance become possible. Another important moral lesson is forgiveness. Thought out the story, there is many moments where character makes mistake, only mistake by un only make mistake by unintentionally causing problem for his home. Ivy groups also makes mistake by overusing resources. Even the fire wolf is a result of pain and protection that turned into destruction. But the story does not end with punishment or endless revenge. Instead, it shows that forgiveness is necessary for healing. When the well is restored, the creatures do not stay angry forever. The choice to forgive each other so they can move forward. This teaches us that holding into anger only keep the circle of the pain alive, while forgiveness allow healing and new beginning. The story also teaches the moral value or leadership. Only does not become a leader because he is the strongest or smartest. He become a leader because he is willing to learn from his mistake and care about others. True leader is the story is show thought action like listening, understanding, and making sacrifice for the greater good. When Oli decide to face danger instead of hiding, he shows that leadership is about responsibility, not power. This teaches that in real life, leaders are not always the ones with authority, authority, but the ones who choose to do what is right, even when it is difficult. Sacrifice is another strong moral than them in the story. Oli risks everything to protect both his own both species and other. He does not think only about his safety. He thinks about the future of the interior valley. The story shows the something protecting other requires personal loss of danger, but these sacrifices are not meaningless. They are what create lasting peace. The valley become united because someone was willing to put others before himself. This teaches that real strength is show when someone cares more about other than personal. Again, another deeper moral lesson is what fear is more dangerous than actual enemies. In the story, many problems happen not because creatures are truly evil, but because they fear each other. Fear makes them act without thinking, which leads to conflict and misunderstanding. The fire wolf itself is also a result of fear, rejection, emotional pain. The story teaches that when fear is not controlled, it can grow into destruction, but when fear is replaced with understanding, peace become possible. The moral of the unity is also very important in the final part. By the end of the story, all creatures learn that they are stronger together than apart. Each species has something unique to offer, and when they combine their strength, they create balance in the valley. The story shows that diversity is not a problem, it is a gift. When different begins to respect difference, they can build a strong, safe world. This lesson applies not only to the magical valley but also to the real life, where people from different backgrounds can achieve more when they work together. Finally, the story teaches that every ending can become a new beginning. Even after destruction, loss, and pain, the valley is restored. This shows that no situation is truly helpless if people are willing to change. Oli journey proves that mistakes do not define the future. What matters is what we learn from them and how we choose to move forward. The valley becomes peaceful again, not because the past is dangerous, but because the future is rebuilt with wisdom. In the end, the moral of the swift is simple but powerful. Understanding, empathy, forgiveness, unity are the only true way to create a lasting peace. The movie Swift 2026 is a fantastic animated adventure that tries to combine emotional storytelling with a visual rich magical world. The film is set in a unique valley where hybrid creatures live, and the main story follow a young character named Ollie who accidentally cause a chain of events what changed the balance of the entire world. From the very beginning, the movie represents a strong idea about curiosity, fear, and separation between different species. The story is simple at first, but as it progresses, it becomes more emotional and deeper, focusing on understanding, mistake, and unity. The storyline of the film is one of its strongest point. It start like a children fantasy adventure but slowly grow into a meaningful survival and unity story. Ollie's journey from curiosity to represent as well written. The idea of magical pools that allow transformation is interesting because it is use of symbol of understanding other. When Ollie become different creatures during the story, it is not just for action, it is used to show empathy. The fire wolf character adds a dark emotional layer representing pain and rejection, turning into destruction. The story teaches that that fear and misunderstanding can destroy harmony if not controlled. The direction by Nathan gives the film a smooth emotional flow. The movie balances action, emotional scene, and world building without making the story too complicated. The pacing is mostly good, although some parts fully slightly rushed, especially in the middle action where the journey sequence happens. Still, the director successfully keep the audience connected to the early emotional journey. The transformation between different locations in the valley are visual strong and help build a believable fantasy world. The voice cast is another important strength of the movie. Michael B. Jordan delivered a strong emotional performance given deep and seriousness to the character. His voice helps make the emotional scene more powerful. Juno also performed very well, especially in moments where her character shows confusion, trust issue, and emotional growth. Comedic, comedic timing from Tracky and Kiribid, the entertainer, brings lightness to the film, balance the serious tone, and also adds the emotion surrounding to support the scene. The voice acting make the character feel alive and believable. The animation quality is one of the most impressive part of the film. Produced by Skydance Animation, the movie feature detailed environment and creative creatures design. The hybrid animal part world is visual stunning with glowing forest floating sparrows and glowing rivers that create a magical atmosphere. Each species has a unique design which helps the audience especially understand different group in the story. The transformation scene, especially the when characters switch from a smooth and visual. The visual effect VFX are very strong, especially in scene involving magical pools and transformation energy. The firewall fire effect are intense and well designed, making him feel like a real threat in the world. The destruction scene are also visual powerful, especially the moment when the valley began to break apart. However, some criticize might feel that certain VFX movement smoothly slightly overall styles mark them feel more likely fantasy than realism, but this fits the dominated tone of the film. The background score also get another layer. The background score plays an important emotional role in the movie. The music is used to support both emotional and action sequence. Soft piano and strutting music are used in emotional moment between Ollie and Ivy. Starting strong rehearsals music to used during action and fire-wolf scene. These scores helps increase tension and emotion depth, especially in the final battle. It is not overall loud or distracting, but a successfully supports the storytelling. Overall, the first half of the film is focused on world building, character introduction, and emotional setup. It successfully builds interest in the story and represent and prepares the audience for deeper conflict. While the film may feel predictable in some parts, its emotional core and visual creativity keep it engaging. The production and development of the Swift 2026 is an interesting story in itself, because the film was not created just as a simple animated project, but as a long-term creative vision by the team at Skydance Animation. The idea behind the movie started with a simple question: what would happen if different creatures could understand each other by literally becoming each other? This concept became the emotional and creative foundation of the interior film. The creator wanted to build a world where different are not just shadow but actually experienced, and what is why the idea of transformation become such an important part of the story. During the early development phase, the writer and director focused heavily on building the world of the valley. This was not just about designing creatures and or landscape, but about creating a believable ecosystem. Every species in the film had to feel like it belonged to the same world, even though they were very different from each other. They create teams spend a lot of time imaging how these hybrids, animal, plants, creature would live, move, or interact. They ask questions like what do what do they eat, how to do communicate, and how do they survive in their environment. These details helped make the world feel more real and impressive. The story development process also went through several changes before reaching its final form. In the beginning, the film was planned to be more light and comedic, focusing mainly on adventure. However, as the writer continued, the team realized that the concept had the potential of a deeper emotional story. This is why the themes of fear, separation, unity, and empathy were added more strongly into the script. The character of Oli become more complex, turning from just an serious character into someone who represents growth and responsibility. Similarly, the Firewolf character was development not just as a villain but as a symbol of pain and rejection.